Dystopia warning, obviously. This lot don't like me, to put it very mildly. And on another note, people have been complaining a little bit over my last couple of videos, despite the implementation of beeps, that I am swearing, far too much in my videos. You clearly weren't here in the early days, but if you don't like it, just stop being snowflakes, Oh no, Barry, 57 from Canvey Island is offended. So? No, seriously though, swearing, it's not big and it's not clever. Talking of which, Tommy Robinson got arrested, didn't he? Just toddled along to a jail and handed himself in. I mean, clearly this is two-tier policing in action, isn't it? Because when you think about it, a white right-wing extremist doesn't get a dawn raid, doesn't get met off the plane. No, he's free to just choose to get arrested. Whereas, obviously someone that's Muslim, that's a suspect, would be treated exactly the same, wouldn't they? They'd be free to go to our nation's capital with a mob and inflict the most, ugly, thickest, unshaggable crowd that anyone's ever seen in the history of time. Been thinking a lot about nationalism lately and the kind of cult that surrounds little tiny Tommy Hobbiton. And it got me thinking about this, because people say you shouldn't really call them stupid, mostly because they're too thick to know they're stupid and it's not fair on them. They try really hard to write their name in crayon, but half of the time they just end up eating the crayons. But science proves that racism, conservatism and a low IQ goes hand in hand. I mean, there have been studies on this, but apparently those studies are woke. People with lower emotional understanding and management tend to score higher on the right-wing authoritarianism scale, whereas people that swear are not only found to be more clever, but manage pain better. The pain of dealing with thick fucks, mostly. I mean, all this though, it's not so much nationalism, it's more of a personality cult, and it's very much emulating what's going on in America. I mean, relying on a national identity because you don't have any of your own is in itself pretty sad, isn't it? So if you're a bit thick, you lack self-respect and personality of your own, you've got to look to the national flag, which you shag. I mean, what are they celebrating exactly? Where you're born is a lottery of birth. So when they're chanting, "Come on England," what are they celebrating chants? But there's a number of things that really irks me about this. Not least, obviously, the links between that loosely packed slab of spam and the broader far-right network, really neatly laid out in this Byline Times article. I strongly recommend you read it. But more and more evidence is coming out that these people are traitors. But that's the beauty of creating chaos and a personality cult that's built broadly around conspiracy, isn't it? The guy that took his own life, that was jailed for taking part in the Rotherham riots, was deep down the conspiracy rabbit hole. He'd sucked up the disinformation, and the problem is once these people are radicalised by that, it's very difficult to get them out of it. And they prey on people that they know are in some way disenfranchised by society, maybe not as clever. Not making excuses for them, but the broader part of my disdain is always for the ringleaders. People like Farage, Robinson, Tice, who try to make you think that racism is somehow an inherent part of being working class. What? They're con artists who are getting incredibly rich from doing this. In fact, I think that he times getting arrested or committing a crime for when he's running a little bit low on the GoFundMe, because the moment that he had handed himself into the police, the link was up, wasn't it? And the thing with the cult of personality, something that we're seeing with Trump, Musk, Tate, Robinson and Farage, and the Reform Party broadly, is that these people become beyond reproach, and the people that unquestioningly follow these liars will lash out and threaten anyone that dares speak out. I mean, when they're not co-opting terrible crimes that happen to women as a way to further their racism, which is enraging, they're threatening women, illiterately, but threatening them. You see, I'll get a lot of comments like this. Not all spell neighbour in such a mad way. A lot of DMs proving that they, know where I live, using my full name, because the right, the far right, hates women. Trump's campaign is built almost entirely on undermining the basic rights of women, and their Project 2025 campaign is, it's like looking at what Margaret Atwood wrote and taking it as an instruction manual. But the stuff I put online is mild. It's nothing compared to what you get broadly. You see, these people, right, they don't care about the crimes that women face unless it's a brown person doing it. And when you bring up things like the EDL, people will be quick to go, oh, well, they disbanded ages ago. They just dispersed into a new ugly group. And when you look at the kind of people that Robinson was associating with in the EDL, it's a list that's so long I could not fit it on this page of offences towards children and women. And they never take into consideration the fact that Robinson's getting, I don't know, arrested for the fact that he libelled a Syrian child, or the fact that he's committing crimes, and that's why he's charged under the Terrorism Act. The thing is, I've lived in Essex all my life. You know, people like this, men like this, are two a penny. They're usually all lunch, no punch, literally and figuratively. They're just trying to intimidate and bully. And they think they have the right to tell me and other people that speak out what a woman's place is. Unfortunately for those clowns, my place is very much roasting the absolute shit out of them. I'm waiting for the day I bump into you, fellow neighbour. Oh no. I'll keep my eyes peeled for like an old, ruddy-faced pork lad draped in a freshly shagged flag, who probably hasn't seen his old chap for the best part of a decade. You could probably barely manage a light jog, shouting some form of poorly constructed sentence at me. They might hate women, but I hate them more, so. Anyway, the evidence of this network is obvious, and their aim is obvious. Chaos, disorder, division, a rampant campaign of disinformation, all of which proves that they are essentially compromised traitors. Because people that want the best for their country, real patriots, don't want vast swathes of the population to be silenced or threatened. Tommy Robinson, dramatically, as always, he's such a drama queen, isn't he, said, "What could be my last message to you all for years?" Fucking hope so. But he addressed Elon Musk directly. Oh, Elon, the guy that's nuts deep in the Trump campaign, the guy that's having, allegedly, secret conversations with Vladimir Putin. The guy that said to, if Trump wins, will have a close part in the administration. That Elon Musk, yeah? The same Elon Musk that's linked to Andrew Tate. The same Trump. The Nigel Farage jumps on a plane to blow on the balls of at any given opportunity. Next month, Nigel Farage doing a talk with Bannon, as I told you. You see, I need to keep repeating this. I need to bed it in because people will go, oh, you're just believing the mainstream media. I criticise the mainstream media all the time. But that's from the perspective of having an understanding of reality. The fact that most of the mainstream media is right wing. The fact that the BBC is somehow the string that's holding it all together, because we'll end up with a news network like America, and that's how pricks like that succeed. All I want is reform. Not that reform, but reform of the media, so they can do, I don't know, real journalism instead of sensationalism, scandal, and nonsense and opinion dressed up as fact. I mean, calling this lot a cult is perfectly valid. Manson was wildly racist as well. The guy who led the Jonestown massacre. Christian fundamentalist, wasn't he? And this lot are going full Jesus as well. Funny how all the men accused of serious crimes suddenly find God, isn't it? You know what they say, Jesus loves you. Everyone else thinks you're a